女士们、先生们，大家上午好。
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
国务院新闻办公室
Today, the
举行
State
新闻
Council
发布会，
Information
发布
Office
新
holds
时
a
代
press
西藏的
conference to
治藏方
release
略的实践
the
以及历
CPC
史成
Policies
就
on
白
the
皮书。
governance of Xizang in the
请中
new
央
era
宣传部
approach
副部
and
长王
achievements.
刚先生发布并解读白皮书
Today,
有
we
关
have
内
with
容。
us Mr. Wang Gang,
今
Vice
天我
Minister
们还
of the
邀请到
Publicity
西
Department
藏
of
自
the
治区
CPC
党委
Central
副书
Committee
记、
to
自治区
release
主
and
席
brief us on
严
the
金
white
海
paper.
先生，
We also have with us
西
Yan
藏自
Jinghai,
治区党委
Deputy
常委、
Secretary
宣
of the
传部部
Xizang
长
Autonomous
汪
Region
海洲
Committee
先
of the
生，
CPC and Chairman of the
西藏
People's
自治区
Government
副
of the
主席
Xizang
徐
Autonomous
志超
Region,
先生
Wang
出席
Haizhou,
发布会，
Member
介
of the
绍有
Standing
关情
Committee
况
of the
并
Xizang
回
Autonomous
答
Region
问题。
Committee of the CPC and
首
Director
先，我
General
们
of
请王
Publicity
刚先生
Department of the
发布白皮
CPC
书。
Xizang Autonomous Regional Committee and also Mr.
女
Xu
士们、
Zhitao,
先
Vice
生
Chairman
们、
of the
记
People's
者朋友
Government
们，
of
大
the
家上
Xizang
午好。
Autonomous Region. First, the
西
floor
藏
over to
是
Mr.
中
Wang.
国的边
Ladies
疆
and
民族
gentlemen,
地区，
friends from the media.
党中央历来高度重视
Xizang
西藏
is
工作，
China's border
亲
ethnic
切
region.
关
The
怀
CPC
西
Central
藏
Committee
各族
has
人民。
always attached great importance to
党的
work
18
on
大以
Xizang
来，
and
以
focused
习
its
近平同
attention
志
on
为
the
核
people
心
in
的
the
党
region.
中央，
Since
着
the
眼于西藏
18th
的长
CPC
治久
National
安
Congress, the
和
CPC
繁荣
Central
发展，
Committee with Comrade Xi
先后
Jinping
召
at its
开了
core
中央第
has
6
focused
次和
on
第
the
7
lasting
次西藏
development
工
and
作座
stability
谈会，
of Xizang
对
and
做
its
好新时代
prosperity
西藏
and
工作
held
做
6th
出了
and
全面
7th
部署，
national meetings
为
on
推进
Xizang.
西藏长治
This
久安
has
和高质
put
量发
forward
展，
some
实现西
guidelines
藏各
on
族人民
the work
对
of
美好
Xizang
生
in
活
the
的
new
向往，
era
建
for the
设
high
社会
quality
主义现代化
development
新
and
西
lasting
藏，
peace in this
指明
region,
了
as
方
well
向。
as building a happy life
西
for
藏
people of ethnic
解
groups
决了
in this
许多
region.
长期
This has
想解
also
决而没有
pointed
解决的难题，
direction
办成了
for
许多过去
building a
想
new
办
modern
而没有办
socialist
成的大
Xizang
事，
in the new
各
era.
项事业取
Xizang
得
was able
全
to
方位
resolve
进
some
步，
issues that
历
it
史
has
性
long
成
wanted to
就，
resolve
与全
and
国人
got
民一
done a
道
lot of
实
big
现
things
了
that
全
were
面
wanted
小
but undone
康，
in the
进
past.
入了实现
Progress
长
has
治
been
久
made
安
across the
和
board,
推进高质量
and the
发展
people
新
have
的
entered with
重要阶
along
段。
with all Chinese people
中
a
央
new
第7
stage of
次
high
西藏
quality
工作座谈
development
会
featuring
深刻
moderately
总
prosperous
结党
society
领导
and
人民
lasting
治藏
peace.
稳藏新藏的成功经
The
验，
7th
明确
National
提出
meeting
了
on
10个
Xizang
必须
has a
的
recap
新时代
of the
党
successful
的治藏
experience
方略。
of the party's
今天，
leadership in
中
leading
国
the
国务院
people
新闻办公室发布
achieving
新时代
governance,
党的
stability, and
治藏方
development
略
of
的实
Xizang
践
and has
及
put
其
forward
历
a
史性
10-point
成
guideline
就
of the
白皮书
CPC for governing Xizang in the new era. Today, the SCIO is here to publish the CPC policies on the governance of Xizang in the new era approach
白
and
皮书
achievements.
以习近平新时
This
代
white
中国
paper
特色社会主义思想为
takes
指
as
导，
its guidance Xi
全面
Jinping
贯
thought
彻
on
落实
socialism with
习近
Chinese
平总书记
characteristics
在
in the
中
new
央
era.
第7
It
次
follows
西
through
藏
on
工
the
作座谈会
important
赴西
guidelines
藏
and
考察
instructions
时的
given by
重要
General
讲话精
Secretary
神，
Xi Jinping
围绕
at
10个
the
必须，
7th
重点
National
介
meeting
绍
on
西藏
Xizang
进入
and
新
during
时
his
代
inspection in
在政
Xizang.
治、
It
经济、
focuses on the
文化、
10-point
民
guideline
主、宗
in
教、
a focused
社会
introduction
和
and
生态
to
文明各领
the
域
important
取得
development
的发
achievements
展
in the new
和
era
进
by
步。
Xizang on
通过真实的案例
politics,
和
economy,
详实的数
culture,
据，充分展
ethnic
示西藏脱贫
development,
攻
religion,
坚全面胜利，
society,
小
and
康社会
ecological
全面
civilization.
建成，
Through real-life
社会大
cases
局
and solid
更加
data,
稳
this white
定，
paper
经
gives
济文
full
化
life to
更
the
加繁荣，
situation in
生态
Xizang,
环
where
境更加良好，
poverty
人民生
alleviation
活
is
更加幸福
achieved,
党
moderately
的宗
prosperous
教
society
政
is
策
built,
全面贯彻，
and
反
where the
分裂斗
society
争
is stable,
持
where
续深入，
economy
藏
and
传佛教与社会
cultures
主
are
义社会
developing
相
and
适应
thriving,
持续推进，
where the environment
中
is
华
getting
民族
better,
共
people
同
are
体
living
意识
happier
不
lives,
断增强，
and the
团
religious
结、
policy of the
富
CPC
裕、
being
文
fully
明、
implemented.
和谐、
Also
美
in
丽的
this
社会主义现代化
society,
新西藏正在奋进新征
anti-secessionist
程的生
campaigns
动
are
途径。
proceeding, and
新
Tibetan
时代西
Buddhism
藏的
and
发
social
展与
society
进步，
are
充
integrating
分证明
in
了
a
新时
better
代
way.
党的治
A
疆
strong
方略
sense of the
是
Chinese
完全
nation as
正
one
确的。
community
白皮 议书
is
分前
strengthened,
言、正文
and、
结束语3个部分
it，shows that
其中
the
正文包
CPC's
括新发展
guidelines
理
for
念
governing
全面
Xizang
贯
is
彻，
entirely
精神文
correct.
明建设
This white paper features
成效
forward,
明显，
body, and
民
conclusion,
族宗教工
and
作
including
扎实推
6
进，
sections
社会
for
大
its body,
局
including
持续
for
安定向
implementation
好，
of new development philosophy,
生
notable
态安全
achievements in
屏
cultural
障
and ethical
日益坚
development,
实，
solid
民
progress
主
in
法治建
ethnic
设
and
不
religious
断加
undertakings,
强
sustained
等
and stable
6个方面。
social development, stronger
第一，
eco-environmental security barrier, and
新发展理
strengthening
念全面
democracy
贯彻，
and the rule of law.
新时代
First,
党的
on
治
full
障方略，
implementation
坚
of
持
the
以
new
人民为
development
中心的发
philosophy,
展思想，
the
完
CPC's
整、准
guideline
确、全
for
面贯彻
governing
新
Xizang
发
in the
展理
new
念，
era
把
adopts a
保障和改
people-centered
善民
development
生、凝
approach.
聚人
It
心作为西藏
implements
经
fully
济
and
社会发
faithfully the
展
new
的出
development
发点
philosophy,
和落脚点，
takes as a
推动经
priority
济社会全面快速
improvement
发展，
of people's
促进
livelihood,
援藏
building
建设
consensus and
持续
coherence
的
among
发
the
力。
people as an
2022
important
年，
point
西
for
藏地区
developing
生
the
产总值
society
达
and
到
economy of Xizang.
2133.64 亿
In
元，按不
2022,
变价格计
total
算，
GDP
比
of this
2012
region
年
stood
增
at
长 1.28 倍。
213.3 billion
西藏
RMB
基础设
yuan.
施建设
At
得以全面
constant
加强，
prices,
绝对
it
贫
went up
困
by
得到历史性解
1.28
决，
times
共
as
同富裕
compared with
程度显
2012.
著提升，各族人民
Infrastructure
群众的
continued to
获得
improve
感、
across the
幸福
board.
感、安全感
Absolute
得到
poverty
极大保障。
was eliminated
藏
once
系
and
传
for
承
all.
人尼
People
玛
are
次人
living
说，
a happy
旧
life
社会
with
我们
common
跳藏戏
prosperity,
是为了让
and they
农
have
牧
a
族
stronger
高
sense
兴，
of
而
gain
今天
happiness
是为
and
了展现我
security.
们自己的美好生
A
活。
leading performer of Tibetan opera,
二，
Nima Teren, said
精
that
神
in
文
the
明
old
建
days
设
we
成
played
效
and
显著。
performed Tibetan opera
新时
to
代党的
please
治藏方
the
略
serf
提出，
owners, but
要
today we
以
do
社
it
会主义核
to
心价
build
值
a better
观
life for
为
ourselves
引领，
and others.
大力
Second,
弘
on
扬
notable
中华
achievements
优
in
秀
cultural
传
and
统文
ethical
化，
development.
繁荣发
The
展社会主
guideline
义先
is
进文化，
guided
不断
by
推动各
core
民族
socialist
文化
values. It
传
carries
承保
forward
护
the fine
和
tradition
创
of
新发展。
traditional Chinese
西
culture,
藏历史文化遗产
helps
有效
develop
保护，
advanced
藏
socialist
医药、
culture,
藏文古
and
籍传承
continues
发
to
展，
promote
藏语言
the
文学学习使
inheritance,
用
promotion, and
依法保障。
innovation of all
2013年
ethnic cultures.
国家组织实
And
施
the
中华大典
historical
藏文
and
卷
cultural
重点文化
legacies
工程，
of Xizang
用
are well
15年
protected.
时间
Tibetan
出
medicine,
版
Tibetan
以从
classics
吐
were
蕃时
carried
期
forward,
到
and
西藏和
language
平解
and
放前
script
的
of
藏
Tibetan
文
language have
文
been
献典籍，
guaranteed by law. In
成为
2013, the state
我国
launched
保
a
护和
priority
弘扬
cultural
藏
project,
族优秀
Library
传统文
of
化的
Chinese
重大
classics,
标志
Tibetan
性
volume,
工程。 同
with
时，
a plan of
西
spending
藏
15 years
公
to
共
collect
文
and
化事业
publish
欣
important
欣向
Tibetan
荣，
classics for
文
the
化
period
产
from
业
Tubo
蓬勃
Kingdom
发展，
to the
各族人民群众
peaceful
精神文
liberation
化生
of
活
Xizang.
多姿
This
多
has
彩。
been a landmark
第三，
project in the protection of
民族宗教
traditional
工作
Tibetan
扎实
fine,
推进。
fine cultures.
新时代党的治藏方
Public
略要
cultural
求
undertakings
必
are
须
also
坚持我
thriving,
国
and as
宗教
are
中国化
cultural
方向，
sectors, and the
积
people
极
are
引导
leading a
宗教与社会主义
splendid
社
and
会相
colorful
适应，
intellectual
不
and
断
cultural
促进
life.
各民族
Third,
交往、
solid
交
progress
流、
in ethnic
交
and
融，
religious
要
undertakings.
求所有
The
发展
guidelines of the
都要赋予
CPC
民族
for
团
the
结进
governance
步的
of
意义，
Xizang
都要赋予维
requires
护
that
统一、
religion must be
反
adapted
对
to the
分
Chinese
裂的意义。
context and
在新时
the
代党的
socialist
治藏方略
society,
正
and
确
it also
引领
promotes
下，
exchanges,
西藏宗
interactions,
教
and
信仰自由
integration
政策
of
得到全面
different
贯彻
ethnic
落实，
groups.
依
The
法管
region's
理宗教
development
事
must
务制
serve
度机制，
to
进一
benefit
步
ethnic
健
unity
全
and
五个
promote
认同，不断
and
增进
progress, and
民
to
族团结
safeguard
进步，
national
持
unity
续
and
巩
oppose
固
separatism.
中华民族共同
Under
体
this
意识
guideline,
不断筑牢。
the policy of religious,
西藏
the
先后
policy
有
of freedom of religious
140个
belief
集体、
continues to be implemented.
189名个人受到
Systems
国
and
务院表
institutions
彰，
for law-based
荣获
management of
全
religious
国民
affairs
族进
continues to be
团结进
improved,
步模范集
and
体
the
个
ethnic
人
groups
称
are
号。
becoming more
第
united
四，
with a stronger sense
社会大
of
局
the Chinese
持续
nation as
安
one
定
community.
向好。
140
新
groups
时代
and
党的治藏方略提出
189
要
individuals
准
in
确
Xizang
把
were
握西
honored
藏
by
工
the
作
State
阶
Council
段
as
性特
models
征，
of
统
ethnic
筹发
unity
展
and
和安全，
progress.
提高
Fourth,
社会治理水
Sustained and
平，
stable
确保国
social
家安全、
development.
社会稳定、
The
人民
guideline
幸福，
emphasizes
走
the
出一条
importance of
符合
accurately
西藏实
understanding the
际的
present
高
work
质量
in
发展之
Xizang,
路。
requires that we
当前，
coordinate
西
development
藏
and
社会治
security,
理能力
improve
和
social
现代化
governance,
水
ensure
平
national
显著提
security,
高，
social
现
stability,
代教育
and
体系、
well-being of
住
the
房保
people,
障体
and
系、
blaze a path
公
of
共卫
high-quality
生服务
development
体
suited
系、
to the
普
realities
惠
of
性社会
Xizang.
保障体
Now,
系
the social
全面
governance
建立，
capacity and
平安
modernization
西藏
drive
建
in
设成效
Xizang has
成
been
效显
improving,
著，
and
群众
systems for
对党和
education,
政府的
housing,
满意度、
public
支持度持续提升。
health, and
拉萨
universal
市
social
7
security has
次
been
登
improved.
上中国
Safe Xizang has been proceeding with good progress, and the people are very happy with the government and the party. Lhasa was listed 7 times as China's happiest cities, and the safety index of people of all ethnic groups in Xizang stayed above 99% for many years. Fifth, stronger eco-environmental security barrier. This guideline states that we must put environmental protection first, and we must firm up the belief in the philosophy that green is gold, as is ice and snow. We must handle well the relationship between protection of the environment and development, and follow steadfastly a path of ecological conservation and green development. And we must build Xizang into a beautiful place of harmonious coexistence between man and nature. Through our relentless efforts, the system of natural protected areas in Xizang has entered a new phase with a larger acreage and number for the reserves and protected areas, and plateau biodiversity continues to improve. Ecological governance has been improving as well. The living environments for the people are getting better, and rich natural resources has been a real estate for a happy life that people can see and keep. Green and low-carbon development for the industries has become a path to prosperity, happiness, and beauty that would help build stronger borders and give a more prosperous life to the people. From 2016 to 2020, Xizang was able to realize the planting of 8.32 million mu of forests, providing eco-conservation jobs of up to 537.7 units. 6. Strengthening democracy and the rule of law. The guideline requires that to work well on Xizang, we must uphold the leadership of the CPC, uphold the system of socialism with Chinese characteristics, uphold the regional ethnic autonomy system, to provide fundamental safeguards for lasting security, safety, and prosperity of Xizang. In the new era, socialist democracy is proceeding, and the system of regional ethnic autonomy is implemented, and there are vivid practices of community-level democracy as well as running of the country by the people. Thank you. Now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Yan Jinghai. Ladies and gentlemen, friends from the media, good morning. It gives me great pleasure to jointly witness in Beijing the issuance of the white paper called CPC Policies on the Governance of Xizang in the New Era, Approach and Achievements. On behalf of the Xizang Autonomous Region CPC Committee and the government, and also the 3.6 million people of all ethnic groups in Xizang, to express our gratitude for friends who have been long supportive of the development in Xizang. As we look back, we have achieved a great deal. General Secretary Xi cares a lot about Xizang and has high hopes for the autonomous region. He inspected the work of Xizang 3 times and held 2 national conferences on the work of Xizang. He personally provided directions and instructions for the development of Xizang and identified the strategies for developing Xizang. And since the 18th Party Congress, we have borne in mind the instructions of General Secretary Xi, and we will continue to develop the region and promote the development of the border areas. And we are making every effort to advance the various causes. And we have also achieved all-round historic progress on all fronts. First, since we entered the new era, Xizang is committed to the development philosophy of putting people first and is now enjoying prosperity and peace. The 628 million poor people have been lifted out of poverty, so have the 72 poor counties. So for the first time in history, we have eradicated absolute poverty. This is very rare at a high altitude plateau. The disposable income per capita in Xizang has been number 1 in China for 8 years in a row. The rural disposable income is also number 1 in China. Across the nation, Xizang is the first to establish the 15-year government-funded education for school-age children. We also provide heating to all schools across the autonomous region. As for medical services, we also provide nearby medical services for the local population. The average life expectancy has been raised to 72.9 years. We also provide medical services, insurance, and old age care to nearly 96% of the population, improving the living standards of all the people in Xizang. We are also committed to implementing the overall national security vision. The whole autonomous region is enjoying harmony and security. We are also fostering a strong sense of the Chinese nation as one community, and has rolled out a series of policies and programs for that. All the counties, townships, villages, and families have been covered by the relevant programs. We continue to adapt Tibetan Buddhism to the Chinese context and have rolled out awareness-raising campaigns for the public. We also provide low allowances, basic insurances, basic health checks to all the population across the autonomous region. And this has never been done before in the history of Tibetan Buddhism. The monks have gotten their old age insurance for the first time in history. We have also enhanced the rule of law in Xizang Autonomous Region. For years, there has been no violent terrorist attacks or mass incident in the autonomous region, and people's approval of the government's work has also been number 1 in the country. If you get a chance to visit Lhasa of Xizang Autonomous Region and to visit the very crowded streets in Lhasa, you would rarely see any thieves in the streets. We have also been fully and accurately implementing the new development philosophy. The whole society is brimming with vitality. The GDP of the autonomous region grew by 8.6% annually, one of the best in the country. And in the first 9 months of this year, our GDP is also number 1 in China at 9.8%. And since Xizang is a high altitude plateau with very low temperatures, we have basically resolved the issue of safe drinking water, but because of climate at the high altitude, especially above 4,500 meters, there are some local conditions that prevent access to drinking water, and last year we have made strong efforts to basically resolve this issue. In Qinghai, Xizang, Sichuan, Xizang, and all the power grid network across the region has also been extended to the autonomous region. We have also set up 7 airports with 54 direct flights to about 70 cities. About 6 million travelers have used such train services. Now all administrative villages have access to broadband network.
农牧区人均的住房面积达到40平米以上。
The size of living space for
从水桶到
the
水管，
population
从
is
油
about
灯
40
到电灯，
square meters per
从
person,
土路到油路，
and infrastructure across the autonomous region has also been changed dramatically
第
and
四个表
improved
现
for the
呢，就是
better.
新时代以来，
And
西藏
fourth,
坚持走生态
since the
优
new
先、
era,
绿色发展之路，
Xizang has also prioritized equal environmental protection and green development.
这个生态环
We
境的
now
保护
enjoy
不
a
断加
very
强。
sound and
我
healthy
们大力
natural
实施
landscape.
中华人民共和
And we have
国
also
青藏高
strengthened
原生态
protection
保护法
of the environment. We
和
have
西藏自治区
implemented
国家生态
fully
文明高
the
地
environmental
建设
protection
条例
law of the PRC and also
这个地
the
方条例啊，
regulations
全国
for building
我们西藏是第一家制
natural
定的
high
生
lands
态保护的
in
条例
Xizang. And this is this
全
is
区
the
的森林
first
覆盖
of
率
its kind
也是提高到
among all the autonomous
12.31%，
regions and provinces
而且
across
西藏
China.
的这个森林的活力木的蓄积量
And
是
also
全国第一，
the forest stock is also
亚洲
bigger than
最
any
高的
part
树
of China.
也在
The
西藏的
tallest
林芝，
tree
这个树
in
啊
Asia
高达
is in
102米。
Lingzhi of Xizang. It is as tall as
还
102
有啊，像这
meters.
个西藏林芝的巨白树龄啊高达3200年。这个树林啊，在1000年以上的核桃树啊，
Local
那林芝
forest
啊各个县啊到处都
is
是。
as old as 3,300 years, and you can
草原
find
之
such
背，
long-standing
盖度呢达到
trees and forests
47.14%。
across
生态
Lingzhi,
环境的质量也是不断的
and
全区自然保护地的
47.14%
面积啊，
of the land is
占到
covered by
全
grass.
区面积的36%。生态红线，
About 36 of
这
the
个生态
land
保护红线占到
is
全区
under
面积
equal
的
protection.
50%以上。
Over
空气
50%
质量优
of
良
the
天
land
数
is
比例啊，
included
达到
in the red line for
99%以
equal
上。
environment protection. And
特别是拉萨市
99% of the times, the
这
air
个空气质
quality
量啊
is
可以说是
sound
我们
and
全中
excellent,
国
especially
首
for
屈一指的。
Lhasa. It is
这个
one of
我
the
们在
cities with the
拉萨
best air quality
这个穿白
in
衬衣
China.
啊，1个礼拜不允洗，
If you
皮
wear
鞋1个
white
礼拜不
shirts
用擦，是干干净净的。
in Lhasa, you don't have to wash it for a whole week. It stays clean
第
for
二次
7
青藏
days.
高原综合科学考察取得重大的成果，
And we have also
目
made
前青
important
藏高原
progress in scientific
已经
research
整体实现碳中和。
for
这个在全中国青藏高原
Qinghai
也是
Lhasa
走在前
Plateau.
列
It has achieved carbon neutrality,
我们生态环境的红利也是不断的释放。
and the dividends
已建和在建清洁能源
in
的装机
eco
啊，
protection have also been released
达到2400万千瓦。因为西藏啊，这个是
with we have also developed clean energy with a total installment capacity of 2.4 million megawatts.
地热
We have very rich
相当丰富，
renewable resources, including wind, solar, and thermal
是
powers.
居第一位的。光太阳能的这
And
个
we
技
also
术开
have
发量
more of such
98
renewable energy
亿千瓦以
sources
上。
than any part of China.
未来啊，也
And
是
the
我们
solar
中国
power
清洁能
installment
源的重要基
capacity
地
is over
数字经济增加值
9.8 billion
超过
kilowatts.
200亿元。
The
各族
digital
群众啊成为
economy
良
is
好
worth
生
more
态环境
than
的守护者，啊
20
绿水青
billion
山绿水
RMB.
金山银山的受益者。
And the local people are very supportive of our
这个
environmental
介绍的
protection efforts.
我们现在
As
生
we
态
all know
保
that
护
green is
岗位
gold.
的设置啊，
As
超过
Mr.
50万。
Wan said,
人均
we
每年
now
的受益
have
啊
more
是
than
3500元人民币。
500,000
第五个表现
eco-environment
就是新时代
related
以来
jobs,
西藏坚持
providing
治国必治
huge
边
benefits to
实
the
践
local
向稳藏的战略思想
population. We are also
呈现出
committed
边防巩
to
固边境安宁
cementing
的
the
新思想
security and promoting development
我
of
们
the
统筹
border
规划建
areas.
设边境地区的学校、
We have coordinated the efforts in establishing public facilities, including schools and entertainment facilities, cultural venues. The income of the local population continues to grow. We have established standardized landfill facilities and water supply facilities. We have also established 624 villages, demonstration villages for initial prosperity. And all the villages now have access to roads. And all of the counties now have access to broadband internet and also 4G services. Sixth, since we entered the new era, Xizang has upheld the leadership of the CPC, and we now enjoy a very sound political environment. We now have 446 million CPC members and 23,000 grassroots organizations of the CPC. Now the CPC has a stronger base in Xizang. We are always committed to the system of regional ethnic autonomy. We have also integrated the rule of law and the CPC's governance of the autonomous region. About 89.2% of the members are CPC members. Of the members of the local People's Congress are CPC members. So the representation of ethnic groups in the relevant political bodies have also increased. It speaks volumes about the freedom of exercising our political rights. The enormous changes are a strong microcosm of the strong leadership of the CPC in Xizang. The party's policies on governing Xizang is the foundation for future development of the autonomous region. In the new journey, we will continue to follow through the CPC's policies on governing Xizang, focus on the 4 major matters and build 4 demonstration areas and write a new chapter of development of the Xizang autonomous region. As we Chinese often say that seeing is believing. At the 3rd International Forum for Trans-Himalayan Cooperation, more than 30 foreign leaders, the media from 40 neighboring countries say that such cooperation is very much needed and is an excellent barometer for future development. A lot of the journalists and the media have visited the local villages and their families, and they see the modern home appliances they are using, and they see what a happy life the people there are living. And the media said what they saw is completely different from the foreign media reports that they have seen. So they call on people not to be misguided by those false reporting, and it is important to have first-hand experience and in Xizang and to visit the local people. Distance cannot keep people of kindred spirits apart. We invite all of you to experience the beauty, the harmony, and the entrepreneuring and the pioneering spirit of the local population, and to tell the world what Xizang is really like. Thank you.
下面我们就进入提问环节。提问前，还是请通报一下所在的新闻机构。请大家开始举手提问。
Now we open the floor for
第三排
questions.
这位女记者刚刚第一个举手，对。
谢谢主持人。经济日报记者提问：据报道
With
，2019
Economic
年底，
Daily
西藏74个贫困县区就已经实现了摘
It
帽
is reported
，62.8
that by
万
the
建
end of
档立卡贫困人口实现
2019, 74
脱
counties
贫。
and
如今3年多过去了，
628,000
请问
registered
西
poor
藏是如何
population
巩固和
were
拓
lifted
展
out
脱
of
贫攻坚
poverty
成
3 years
果，
on.
并与乡村
What
振
has
兴有
Xizang
效
done
衔
to
接的？
cement
谢谢。
poverty reduction outcomes and to
这
transition
个问题
to
呢，
rural
请
revitalization?
我的同事，我们自治区政府的副主席徐志涛同志回答。
好，谢谢这位记者的提问。
Thank you for your
大家知
question.
道，西藏呢曾经是全国唯一的
As you
省
probably
级
know,
集中连片贫困地区。那么经过
Xizang
艰苦的
was
努力，
the only place
我
in the
们
nation
与
with
全国一道
a whole
全面
cluster
建成了
of
小康社会。
poor counties.
就像刚才金海主席讲的，
Working under the
在西藏这
leadership
样
of
一
the
个
CPC,
条件
we
艰苦
have
的
joined the
地区实
nation
现
in alleviating
这个
absolute poverty.
摆脱绝对贫困殊为不易。
It is uneasy for
那么
this
在
region to
实现
realize eradication
脱贫
of
摘
absolute
帽之后
poverty.
中央要求呢，要把工作对象转
After
向所有的农
These
民。
counties
工作任务
graduated from
转向
poverty.
推进乡村
The CPC
大
Central
振兴
Committee asked
工
that
作举
we
措
turn
转
this
向促进
subject of
发
our
展
work to
这样
all
一个
rural
要求。
residents, our
我们
tasks
结合西
to
藏的实
the
际，
5 aspects of
近
rural
几年呢，主要做
revitalization
了
and
以下的
measures
工
to
作：
promoting
一
development.
是健全机
And
制
with that, we
和
have
政策，
done work in the
全
following
面完
aspects.
成自治
First,
区
we have worked to improve
市县
mechanisms
三级
and
乡
provide
村振
stable
兴机构的
policies.
重组，
We
形
have
成了领
realized
导
the
小组抓
restructuring
总
of
各级
rural
农办
revitalization
统
at
筹
3
协调
levels of the autonomous
专项
region,
分
city,
块推
and
进
county.
行业
And
部
we
门
have
各
formed
司
a
其职
working
的
mechanism
工作
where the leading
机
group
制，
would take charge of
严
all
格落
affairs.
实
Rural
四不灾
offices
的要求，
at all levels
出
would
台
coordinate the work,
三
and
保障
task
成果
forces
巩固
focus on the
产业
specialized
发展
segments
就业帮
and
扶、勾
competent
稽保障等
authorities working in their
30多项
respective
政
areas.
策。
And we have rolled out 30 plus
20
transition
手牢底线
policies on
不成
ensuring
果
education,
健
healthcare,
全防
and
止
housing
返贫动态
outcomes,
监测防
industrial
扶机制，
development,
义务教育阶
job
段
support,
脱
and
贫家
backstopping
庭辍学学生
guarantees.
继续
And
保
second,
持
we have
动态
worked
清零。
to cement the outcomes, staying
低保
true
对
to
象
our bottom line. We
城
have
乡
carried out
低收入人口
dynamic
政策
monitoring
范围内，
to
个
prevent
人
people
自
from
付医
falling
疗
back
费救助
into
比例分别达到
poverty
95%
as
和
a
90%。
bottom line. And we have
对全
worked
区
to make sure that all school
48.1
aged
万户农牧区
dropouts
房屋
from
开展
families
安
just
全隐
lifted
患
out of
排查，
poverty would return to
持续
school.
加强农
And
牧
we
区
have
饮水安
worked
全
to
的
provide
动态监测。
transition policies in support of
三
people's
是推
health
动发
insurance.
展稳
And
增收。
we have carried
2021
out
年和2022
safety
年，自治区
checks
统
for
筹
housing in
整
the
合
rural
财政
and
涉农资金153
pastoral
亿元
areas.
148亿元，
And third, we have
有
worked
力
to
保
promote
障了乡
development
村振兴各
and
项需要，
improve people's earnings. In 2021
强
and
化扶贫
2022,
项目资产
fiscal
后续管
spending
理，
in the
开展
autonomous
扶贫
region
产业项目
has been
提档
mobilized
升
to
级。
ensure revitalization
年
at
脱贫人口
an
人
amount
均
of
纯收入
15.3
达到
billion
了
and 14.8
1.38万
billion.
元，年均增长率高于
And in
全区的
2022,
农牧
people's
区
net
居
income
民
stood
人
at
均可支配收入的
13.8 thousand,
增长水平。
and the growth rate for
四
people
是
living in
积
rural
极部
pastoral
委
areas
促振
grew
兴。
higher than the
2021年以来，启动
same
建设美丽宜居村300个，
than
认
that
定
of
美
people
丽宜
living
居
in
村
urban
示范
areas.
村505
And
个，
fourth, we have been working steadily to
启动
promote
实施
revitalization.
树立农牧民
Since
新风貌
2021,
行
we
动，
have launched
推
300
广运
beautiful
用
and
积分制的
hospitable
办法，
village building
开展
and
建
505
村规民
demonstration
约、兴
villages.
优秀文化
And、we have
美
launched
村容村貌等活动。
activities to help
那
people
么我们自治区呢，
adopt
还
civic
实行
habits,
乡村振
dispose
兴的
of
这
old
个省
ones,
级干部的
and to build
联系
village
点制
rules
度。
and norms
我的
to
联
carry
系点呢，
forward
在
fund
西藏日喀
traditions
则的一个叫
and
做
renovate
扎
the
省的一个小村
villages.
庄，
We also have
那里呢，这个土地肥沃，
connection programs.
景色
Personally,
宜人，
I was
特
in
别
charge
是
of
群众
a
啊，非常的
county
勤劳，
which was very beautiful
一
and
半
where
以上的
people
劳
were
动力啊，
very
在
diligent.
外地在务
Half of the
工，
population work
人
outside
均收入啊
of
也是
this
高于
region.
全区的这个平均
And
水
for
平。
this village, per capita income is higher than the average for the entire region. And for my pilot area, we are carrying out the building of asphalt roads, separation of the living places of livestock and people, and proceeding with revitalization of the rural area. And I believe this place will hold a brighter and more dynamic future.
谢谢主持人。总台央视记者提问。
Thank you,
刚才的王部长
CCTV.
已经介绍了近年来西藏取得了举世瞩目的发展与成就。
As was
那么
noted
请问在
by
尊重和保
Minister
障
Wang,
人权
there
方
a
面，
lot has been
新时代党的
achieved
治藏方略
in
又给西藏各族人
Xizang.
民带来
When
了
it comes
哪
to
些变化？
respecting and
谢谢。
protecting human rights, what changes are brought to people in Xizang as a result of the CPC policies on the governance of Xizang?
Thank you for your question. I know there is always a lot of interest in human rights in Xizang. People's happiness, the greatest human rights. Development can bring happiness to the people. So a happy life is the greatest manifestation of human rights being protected. As the white paper pointed out, from serfdom to today, the people in Xizang have seen their lives being improved significantly, as Mr. Yan has briefed you. The income and the various indicators all show that the living standards of the people in Xizang have been greatly improved. The more than 3 million people in Xizang, together with the rest of the country, have entered the stage of initial prosperity and the stage of building a modern socialist country in all respects. Now, the people in Xizang are living a happy and peaceful life. This is evidenced in social indicators, including income, etc. As I mentioned, about 630,000 poor population have been lifted out of poverty, and so did 72 poor counties. So people in Xizang and people across the country have all benefited from reform and development over the years. And we would also look at the micro level in the fields of economy, health, and education, whether the people in Xizang have really benefited as the rest of us. And I think the white paper has made it clear that since people's happiness is the greatest human rights, after ensuring the right to survival and development, our right to education and our rights in various fields have been well protected. Xizang is the first province or autonomous region to provide 15-year compulsory education. And there are more favorable policies for this region. Every year, about 600 million rural population in Xizang were provided relevant jobs. You may know that the autonomous region is home to 3 million people. A lot of the places are at high altitude. To extend medical services to the entire region is extremely difficult, but we pulled it off. And you now can see that people there have access to education, healthcare, home, and all kinds of services and old age care. We have put in place a comprehensive social security system which ensured higher living standards for the people. And we can also see there is the issue of civil and political rights. We have always been committed to integrating the rule of law with protecting people's rights. Now people across the autonomous region enjoy the right to manage the national affairs and local affairs. the
人民代表之
principle
家
of people
人大代表之
serving
家
as the master
全
of the
西藏
country is fully
772个
achieved.
已经实现
There
了
are
区域的全覆盖。还有一个
772
数据，
deputies'
在
homes have
全
been
区的
established
政协委
across the
员当
autonomous
中，
region,
少数民族占的
and
比重已经达到
85.7% of
85.7%。
all CPPCC members in Xizang are ethnic minorities.
西藏信教群众享有宗教信仰自由权。
The religious believers in Xizang autonomous region fully enjoy their
中央
right
始
to
终
and
根据
freedom of
中国西
religious
藏的实际
belief.
来制定和
I know
实
that
行
is
符
also
合
of
西藏
interest
地
to a
方
lot
的
of the
宗教
reporters.
信仰自
The
由政策。
CPC Central Committee formulates
各
and
族信教
implements
群众
policies
在
on
宪
freedom
法
of
和法律
religious
的保护
belief
下，享
compatible
有
with the
开展
local
正常宗教活动
realities.
的自由。
All
我还想让大家
ethnicities in
知道，
Xizang
整个西藏
enjoy
1700多
the
处宗教
freedom
活
to
动场
carry
所
out normal religious
，1700多项
activities.
宗教民俗活动
And there
都
are
在开展，
more
都
than
存在，
1,700
充分满足了
venues for
所有
religious
信教
activities
群
and
众
more
的
than
正常宗教
1,700
需求。
religious and folk activities that can meet
如果
the
还想
normal
了解
religious
更多，
needs of the
希望你们好
people
好
with
看这本
religious
白皮书，
belief. If you want to learn more,
让大家真实的了解。
please
如果还
have a
想了
closer
解
look
西
at
藏的
the
人权问题，刚才
white paper
严
if
金
you
海
want
主
to
席已
learn
经
even
发出
more
了
about
邀
human
请，
rights
直接到
of
西藏去看，
Xizang.
直接
Just
问
now,
西藏的老百姓，直
Mr.
接去
Yan
寻
has
找你
extended
们
an
存在的
invitation for
所
all
有
of
的
you
问
to
题
visit
疑问，西
Xizang for
藏
yourself to
应该
talk
都
to the
可以
local
给出
people.
答案。谢
I'm
谢
sure
你
you
的
will
提
be
问。
able to have your
好，继续提问。
questions answered.
第一排吧，第一排这位女记者。
谢谢主持人。北京青年报记者提问，我的问题有关于西藏的教育问题。
My
想问
question
一
is
下，在西藏这样一个
education
地广人
in
稀、人口
Xizang.
分散的地方，
This
各
is
地
a
区政府都
sparsely
采取了哪些
populated
举措
region.
来更好
What
地解
did
决
the
游牧
autonomous
民族的
region
教育问题？谢谢。
do to address the education issues for children from rural and pastoral backgrounds?
这个，请我们指导同志啊，还是你来回答吧。好，
谢谢这位记者你的提问对教育问题的
Thank you for your
关心。
question and your
这个
attention
我
to
们西
the
藏呢，
issue of
一直
education.
坚持把提高我们乡村
Xizang
教育的质量
always
作为
takes
我们的
improving
重
the
中
quality
之
of
重。
rural
特
education
别
as a
是
priority of our
通过
work.
这些措施
In
来充分
particular,
地保障我们农牧
Working
民
with
的
our
子
solid
女
steps
都能够
to
平等地
ensure
受到
that
良好的教育。
children from
这
rural
我
and
们采
pastoral
取的主要
backgrounds
措
will
施
have
呢，一个就是
equitable
全面
access to
改善农
education.
牧区的
First,
学
we have
校的
worked to
办学
improve
体系。
schooling
现
conditions
在
for schools
李建
in
主
rural and
席
pastoral
也介绍到
areas,
这些情况。我们现
as
在
was
实施
introduced
农牧
by Mr.
区
Yan.
学校安全饮水工程
Now
和
we
高
have
寒高海
in
拔地
place
区
a
学
safe
校的
drinking
工程
water
措施。
and for
同
schools
时呢，
in
我们
rural and pastoral
强力地
areas
推进
and
信息
a
化，
heating
建
for
成了
schools in high altitude
西
areas
藏教
program.
育逐分齐用平台啊，这实现了
And
我
we
们
have
教育广网的
built
全覆盖。
Full coverage
我们
of
中小学百兆宽带网
Kumalam
的
Banner
有效
Cloud Platform, which
率
is the official
现在
platform
达
for
到了
education.
100%，就形
Full
成了
coverage has been achieved
人人皆
for
学、
optical
处处能学、
network
实事
in
可
schools.
学的开放式的教育
This
网。
enables
我
an
们全区
open
的师生
education
呢，可以
cloud
不
where
受
everyone
足不
can
出户
learn
就能够享
anytime
用
and
全
anywhere.
国优质的教育资
Faculty
源。
and students
这有效
can
地
have
缩小
access
我
to
们
nationwide
城乡
quality
和
education
教
resources
育
without
教育
going
的
out of their
差
homes
距。
or classrooms. And this has
第二呢，就是我们
effectively
全面
helped
地实现义务
reduce
教育的
the
基本分化
education gap among regions between
2012
rural
年
and
启
urban
动了
areas
县域
and
义务
between
教育的
schools.
均衡发展。
Second, we are
投入
working
资金
to
78.3
achieve
亿元，
basic balanced
实现
development of
扶贫
compulsory
民间学
education.
校基
This
本
has
建设
started
项目
in
2167
2012
个
within counties with a
2021
total
年呢，
input
我
of
们全区
7.83 billion
74个县区
into
全部通过了国家县域内
167 basic
义务教育
development
基本均衡
programs
发
for
展的
schools.
评估认定。
In 2021, schools in
三是
all
我们全
74
面
counties
推动
passed the
高
national
中阶段
assessment
的
for
教育
basic
高质量的发
balanced
展。
development of
我们
compulsory
实施了高
education.
中阶段教育普及及攻坚计划，
And we have also
新
installed
建构
a
建了一批高中阶段的学校。
universal education
我们现
program
在每一个地
for
市
high schools.
每地
This
市
is
都
the
有
third step
有一
that we
所
have
特色
taken.
中职学校。
Now, for
我们
every
培养学
prefectural
校的
city, there
培
must
养
be a
技术性的
leading
人才。同时呢，通过中
vocational
高
middle
职的贯
school
通
to help
让有需求的
cultivate
每一个
skilled
青少年
talent. And we are aligning the development of middle and high school for vocational education to help the children acquire at least one practical skill and for them to have the opportunity to shine. We are also making it more accessible to the children from rural and pastoral backgrounds to enter higher institutions through special programs for poor areas and special programs for certain higher institutions, so that there will be equal opportunities for children from rural and pastoral backgrounds to higher education. And fourth, we are funneling more resources to rural schools in terms of faculty. We have put in place support and directed education programs for rural faculty. We're improving the treatment of such teachers, encouraging more teachers to teach in rural schools, and we are also favoring rural schools and also schools in high-altitude areas during faculty title assessments. Since 2016, 2,096 teachers from the Xizang Autonomous Region in rural areas have been awarded honorary titles for 20 years of teaching and 677 for 25 years of lifetime achievement. And fifth, we are making it more burdenless for children from rural and pastoral backgrounds when they seek education. We have set up a 15-year public-funded education system and put in place subsidy programs for students. Since the 18th CPC National Congress, we have based the standard for subsidies in the region. Now, under the policy of free food, lodging, and education, every student can receive about 4,200 yuan per year. The total amount of 22 billion yuan have been allocated to the benefit of 6.55 million people. Compulsory education nutrition improvement program has been piloted at a national and subnational level for the students in rural and pastoral areas. Their standards have been raised for 2 times. Now people can receive about 10,000 yuan per month per person, with a total input of 3.25 billion, benefiting 4.17 million students. There are as many as 40 subsidy programs in place, helping as many as we can and as many as necessary. In Xizang, children will not drop out of school because of difficulties in their family, and most of the children were able to change the future of themselves and their family through education. They're now leading a happy life. There has been a sea change in the education in Xizang. Education for children from rural and pastoral backgrounds has been improved drastically. This is another robust example of the governance of the CPC for Xizang. It has also proven that only under the leadership of the CPC, only in the arms of the motherland, can people of all ethnic groups enjoy full rights to education. Thank you.
继续提问。好，这边吧，1排这位女记者。
人民日报记者提问：中共18
People's
大以
Daily.
来，中国共产党
Since
大
the
力推进
18th
全过程人民
CPC
民主。
National Congress, the
请问
CPC
西
has
藏
been
在
vigorously
新时代
promoting the
坚
whole
持和发
process
展
people's
全过程人
democracy.
民民主的过程
What
中，
important
有哪
measures
些
have
重要
been
举措
taken in Xizang in the new era for promoting the whole process people's democracy?
这个问题呢，由我来回答。
Thank you for your question.
这个总书记也曾经讲过，就是
General Secretary Xi once said,
鞋合不合脚，
whether the
只有
shoes
自己穿了才知道。
fit or not,
这是选择道路
well,
的
that's a
问题，
question
民主
only
也是同样，
those
也
who
没有
wear
一
the
个
shoes can answer.
统一的答案和统一的标准。每一个国家
And
都有
just
自
like
己的
for
民主
democracy, there's not a unified single right
中共
answer.
18代以
Every
来啊，
country has its own
西藏自治
form of
区在2
democracy.
次换届选举当中，
Since the 18th
有
Party
90%
Congress,
以上的选民啊，都
More than 90% of the voters participated in county level and township level direct elections, with 100% participation in certain localities. And the People's Congress in Xizang has established and implemented a dual contact system in which members of its standing committee maintain direct contact with community-level deputies, which in turn maintain direct contact with people in their constituencies. And some villages have set up deputies' functional centers. And these facilities enable deputies to perform their duties, which has helped institutionalize the dual contact system. We have also leveraged the important role of socialist consultative democracy. The party's overall leadership of the CPPCC has been strengthened, and the CPPCC has been supported in enhancing political consultation, democratic supervision, and participational political affairs. The CPPCC is open to representatives from all social sectors and ethnic groups, with a view to ensuring broad-based representation. There are 440 members on the 12th CPPCC committee, 59.3% of whom are not CPC members. 85.7% of the over 8,000 CPPCC members across the region are ethnic minority members. Third, we have enhanced the rule of law in Xizang. Since the 18th Party Congress, regional ethnic autonomy in Xizang has been deepened, playing an important role in strengthening ethnic unity, promoting exchanges, interactions, and integration among all ethnic groups, and enhancing the cohesion of the Chinese nation. It further highlights the exemplary nature of the party's policies on governing Xizang in the new era. The People's Congress of Xizang and its Standing Committee have formulated 160 local regulations, resolutions, and decisions, which help to ensure that the rule of law contributes to social management and the people's well-being. Fourth, we have fully promoted democracy at the primary level. The system of villages representative meetings has been established, and community residence congresses or residence committees have been set up in urban areas, providing organizational guarantee for grassroots self-governance. The public's right to information, participation, decision-making, and supervision are guaranteed. Democratic management systems with workers' congresses as the basic form have been improved to enable employees in enterprises and public institutions to fully exercise their democratic rights in decision-making regarding important matters. There are now 8,821 trade unions in Xizang with 607,000 members in total.
这边吧，第二排这位男记者。
谢谢发言人。凤凰卫视提问。有媒体说，西藏建设了大量的寄宿学校。
There have been reports that Xizang has built a lot of boarding schools and forced many Tibetan children to attend those schools far away from their home. Is this true? I'll give the floor to my colleague.
感谢这位记者对西藏教育情况的关注。
Well, thank you for taking an interest in education in Xizang. Well, China's compulsory education law stipulates that people's governments at or above the county level may, in light of need, establish boarding schools to ensure that school-age children and adolescents who live far from school receive compulsory education. This policy can ensure our citizens equal access to education. It helps children who live far away from school and whose parents have difficulty taking them to school. It also ensures, to the largest extent, equal access to education and a fair shot for everyone. It has also gone a long way towards promoting education and enabling people's all-round development in China. In fact, not just in Xizang, every province in China has established boarding plus day schools for all school-age children. Boarding schools are now becoming a main form of schooling in China, especially in the vast rural and pastoral areas. This is a natural choice of various localities as they explore best ways to run their schools, and it is compatible with China's national conditions, with the geographical realities of the rural areas, and it can meet the people's needs for education. And I believe a lot of the Chinese journalists and staff present today may have also gone to boarding schools and have benefited from this experience. As for the claim that Tibetan children are forced to go to boarding schools is deliberate smearing with an ulterior motive. We all know that some places in Xizang are at a very high altitude with very harsh natural environment and are sparsely populated. The children in rural and pastoral areas have a particularly hard time getting to school. And if the schools are too spread out, it would be difficult to have enough teachers or provide quality teaching. It is highly necessary to have boarding plus day schools to ensure children's right to education and equal access to high quality teaching. The boarding schools in Xizang provide free food, free lodging, with no tuition fees required. And they pay special attention to the participation of families in their children's education through family committee meetings and open school days. They also invite the parents to participate in the management and the planning of their children's accommodation in school. And boarding and day students are a choice, voluntary choice by the students and their families. And China's boarding schools are completely different from the targeted colonial-style boarding schools of some Western countries. In the last century, China's boarding school education is diverse, considerate, and full of dynamism. It is a good form of school operation for enhancing the accessibility of education. It reflects the public nature of education and can meet people's demand for high-quality education resources. It also provides a good environment for children, especially those from far-flung areas, to enjoy good access to education and to start a good life.
We noticed
that the white paper mentioned that religion should be adapted to China's realities and to socialist society. Will this affect people's freedom of religious belief? How will the government respect and safeguard people's freedom of religious belief?
这个问题呢，是不是请我们的同事自治区副主席徐志涛同志来回答？
And I will give the floor to Vice Chairman Xi to take this question. On your first question, adapting religion to China's realities and to socialist society is determined by the law of religion's own development. Historically, Tibetan Buddhism is a product of Buddhism adapted to the Chinese context, and it has been passed on to the present day through constant self-adjustment and changes as the Chinese society evolved through different historical periods. Only when adapted to the Chinese context will Tibetan Buddhism be passed on to the present day and be practiced by the local people, the local population. And the adaptation has been an ongoing process without interruption. In a socialist society, Tibetan Buddhism should naturally be adapted to a socialist society.
Now, socialism with Chinese characteristics has entered the new era.
宗教的中国化方向，
We must continue adapting religion to the Chinese
社会
context
与社会相适应，
and to guide
实际上
Tibetan
呢，
Buddhism
将进一步推
to
动
adapt
藏传
to
佛
the
教
socialist
更好
society.
地适应
This will help
中国的
Tibetan
国情，
Buddhism be better
与
adapted
时代
to
发
the
展
realities of
同
China
频共步，
and
在
will
中国
help
呢
the
得到
religion to
更
stay
好的
relevant
传承
and
发展，
enjoy
同
sound
时呢，
development
也将更
and
好
continuation
地
in
保
China.
障群众的宗教信仰自
This
由。
way, people's freedom of religious belief
那
will
么
be
关
better
于
protected.
第二个问题，
On your second
这
question,
个西藏啊，它是一个宗教因素比较突出的一个地区。这个刚才王刚部长也介绍了
religion is
西藏的一
a
些
salient
宗教的一
feature
些情况和政
in
策。
Xizang, and we have just heard
那么我们西藏自治
briefings
区政
about
府啊，
relevant
积极推
policies
动
on protecting and
宗教信
respecting
仰自由
people's
政策呢
religious，
在西藏
belief
得到全面的贯彻
The
落实。
policy of freedom of religious
主要的做
belief
法呢
in
有这
Xizang
么
has
几个
been
方面：
fully
一
implemented.
是尊重公民的宗教
First,
信
we
仰自由，
respect
保
citizens'
护
freedom
正
of
常的宗
religious
教活动。
belief and protect
二
normal
呢
religious
是对待
activities.
各个宗教
Second,
一律平等，
we
一
treat
视
all
同仁。
religions equally without
三
discrimination.
是依法
Third,
对涉及国家利益和
We
社会
manage
公共
in
利益
accordance
的
with the law
宗教事务
religious
进行管
affairs
理，
concerning the interests
但
of
不
the
干
state
涉
and the
宗
public,
教团体的内
but
部事务。
will not interfere in the
四是
internal
在处
affairs of
理宗教界
religious
的关
groups.
系呢，
Fourth,
是采取政治上
we
团结
uphold the
合作、
principle of
信仰
uniting and
上互
cooperating
相尊重的
politically
方
and
针，
respecting each other's beliefs,
共同致力于实现中华
and
民族伟大
work
复兴。
together for the Chinese dream
五
of the
是
great
信教
national
的公民
renewal.
与其他的
Fifth,
公民一样，
citizens with
享有同
religious
等的
belief
政治、经济、社
enjoy
会、
the same
文化
political,
等各方
economic,
面的
social,
权
and
利。
cultural rights like
宗教
other
组织的代表
citizens.
还可以通过
Representatives
合
of
法的渠
religious
道参
organizations
与
can
政治生
participate
活。
in
谢谢。
political life through lawful
继续提问。
channels.
最边上第二排那位白衣服的女记者。
你好，我是中国日报记者。我们都知道呢，西藏
With
有着悠久
China
的这
Daily,
个文化和历史。
We
然
know
后呢，我
that
们的藏
Xizang
族的文
boasts
化也
rich
是非常
culture,
绚烂。但是呢，
including
我们听到一
distinctive
些声
traditional
音，就是
ethnic
说现
culture,
在西藏的文
but
化得
some
到保护，
say
正
that
在
the
消
ethnic
失。
culture
我
is
想请问发言人怎么看这个
disappearing.
问题？然后我们自治区在这方
What's
面
your
有怎么
comment
样
on
一些
that?
的工
What
作？
has the
谢谢。
government done to better protect and develop traditional
自治区党委
Tibetan
常委
culture?
共产部长海洲先生来回答。
谢谢这位记者。
Thank you for your question.
西藏的自治区呢，我们始终坚持推行一系列的有利于
The Xizang
民族地区
Autonomous
优秀
Region
文化保护和
always
发展的方针政策，
follows
特别
guidelines
是
and policies
18代以来，
that will
我
enable
们西
the
藏的优秀
protection and
传统文化
development
得到了前所
of
未有的保
fine
护和传
traditional
承。
cultures
这
in
一
this
点总
region
体
and
上
of ethnic
前面王刚
minorities, in
部长
particular
和
since
金
the
汉
18th
主席
CPC
做
National
了介
Congress.
绍。
Fine Tibetan
一个呢，
traditional
就是我
culture
们
has
非遗
been
的保护传
protected
承
and cared
不
for
有
like
成
never
效。
before.
下面我给大
First,
家通报一
the
组数据，
protection
大
of
家就可以感受到。
intangible cultural heritage has been very
2012年以
effective.
来，
Since
中央和自治
2012,
区的财政
central
累计投入
and autonomous
3.25
regional
亿元支持西
fiscal
藏的非
spending
遗保护事业发展。
at a total
我
of
们格萨尔
325 million has been used to protect
联合国人
the
类
ICH
非遗代
in
表作的名录。
Xizang, Gasar,
现
Tibetan
在我们有
opera
各
and
级各
long
类代表
medicinal
性的项
bathing
目
of
有
Solar Rigpa of
2800
Xizang
项，
has been listed
代表性的传承
as
人有
representative list of
1668
the
名，
intangible
我们
cultural
总共呢
heritage
也
of
就
humanity. There are
360多万的人口。
2,800
还认
items
定
of
了
all
国家级
sorts
的
of
生产和保护
representative
示范基
items
地
at
4
different
家，
levels,
自治区级的生产性保护示范基地
1,668
12家，
leading skilled bearers, and
命
4
名了有8个
national
非遗
level
特产现
productive
乡村
product
，19个非
protection
遗
demonstration
邻近区
bases,
，159
and
个
12
非遗
at
团契
the
基地和
autonomous region level.
153
We have
支
named
民间藏
8
寺团，
ICH
建成10个非遗
villages,
保护临时设施项
19
目。
ICH
特别
tourist
是完成
attractions,
了
159
30
ICH
高龄
bases,
的
and
国家级10名的
153
自治
part-time
区级的
Tibetan
代
opera
表性传
troops.
承人的抢
We have
救
also
性记录
built 10 programs and facilities for the protection and use of ICH items. Most notably, we have recorded knowledge and skills of 30 elderly national and 10 regional ICH bearers. We have also built 173 ICH workshops, and this has helped us realize a leapfrog development of living inheritance of ICH items by individuals to that by groups. Second, we have built a lot of good public cultural service facilities. There are more than 896 public cultural service facilities across the region. We have established a 5-tiered network of public cultural service facilities. There are all-purpose cultural centers at all counties, including libraries, people's art halls, and museums, and also cultural activity stations for all counties. We have set 5,492 performing teams. Third, we have been stepping up the protection of and use of relics. We have invested 400 million yuan in the protection of Potala Palace, Norbrinka, and Sakya Monastery as 3 historical architecture sites. There are 3 World Cultural Heritage Sites, 70 key cultural relics units under the national protection, and 616 under regional, ethnic regional, autonomous region protection in Xizang. And we have invested 660 million yuan in the redevelopment of the Xizang Museum. I hope that you could go visit Xizang and take a look at the museum to have a better understanding of our work. Fourth, we have basically completed survey of classics in the autonomous region. For our region, we have completed survey and registration of classics for 1,160 collectors at the prefecture level, with a total of 13.7 thousand entries and 69,000 photocopies. We have formed a network system for the survey and protection of classics with the Regional Classics Protection Center as the mainstay and sub-regional collectors as participants. We spent 10 years and invested 300 million yuan in the protection of Potala Palace classics and Putra Leaf Sutra protection. 291 pieces of classics were listed in the national catalog, and 4 collectors of classics, including the Xizang Museum, Potala Palace Administration, and Xizang Archive and Norbrinka Administration, were listed as key classics units under national level protection.
谢谢主持人。香港中评社记者提问。那么有境外机构就宣称，西藏强迫农牧民接受
Some foreign agencies claim that peasants and herders are forced to undergo vocational education and accept alternative jobs. Can you tell us if that's true?
这个问题呢，请我们自治区政府副主席徐志涛先生来回答。
Give this question to Vice Chairman Xi.
感谢这位记者的提问。
Thank you for your question.
首先我说呀，这个所谓强迫
Well, first, I would like to point out the word force is pure smearing.
那么中国政府啊，历来重视保护
The
公民的
Chinese
劳动
government
权。
has always
中华人民共和国
been
劳动法
committed
规
to
定，
protecting
劳动者
people's labor
享有
rights.
平
The
等
labor
就业
law
和
of the
选择
PRC
职业的
stipulates
权
that
利。
laborers shall
劳动
have
者
equal
应当
right to
完成
employment
劳
and
动
the
任务，
choice of
提高
occupation.
职业技
They
能。
shall fulfill their labor
近年来，
tasks, improve their
自治
vocational
区政
skills.
府实施
In recent
积极的
years,
就业
the
政策，
autonomous region's
坚持
government
劳动者自主择业，
has adopted a
市场
proactive
调节
job
就业，
policy and
政
upheld the
府
policies of
促进就业的
independent
方
choice
面，
of
多渠道
occupation,
扩大
market-based
农民的
employment
就业。
adjustment, and government support of
主要措施
employment,
呢有以下几
and has
条。
been expanding
第一
job
呢是
creation
调整
for
产业结
the
构
farmers
与
and
增
herders
加
through
就业
multiple
岗
channels.
位并
First,
重。
we have
通
emphasized
过特色优势
equally
产业
the
发展，
importance of
政
job
府
creation and
投资项
addressing
目等多种渠
unemployment
道，带
through
动和吸
developing
纳
unique and competitive industries, and through government investment in relevant projects, we are trying to create jobs for farmers and herders through multiple channels, including encouraging green jobs and green business startups. The urban surveyed unemployment rate is lower than national average, and the number of families with no one in work has been steadily reduced to 0. Second, we have been emphasizing improving employment services and strengthening vocational training and providing employment assistance. We have fully integrated farmers and herders into urban employment registration and provided free public services such as job placement, employment guidance, and job-seeking registration. We have also provided training to the workers at 16 years old and above with a desire to get employed. The training programs fully respect the desire and the needs of the trainees. The training programs, methods, and institutions are all chosen independently by urban and rural workers themselves. Third, farmers and herders are encouraged to start their own business and become self-employed. Workers are encouraged to get jobs near or at their hometown, and we also encourage local companies to employ local farmers and herders, and have provided targeted skills training in light of job requirements and the needs of the workers. And relying on the employment service stations in other provinces, our localities have also coordinated with local employment service departments to help surplus laborers in the rural areas to work in other provinces. And we also help them solve whatever problems they may have, be it food, lodging, commuting, or protection of rights and interests. And these practices have been widely accepted and recognized by the trainees. Last 2 questions.
谢谢主持人。香港紫金杂志记者提问：刚刚听了发布人的介绍，近年来西藏各项事业都取得很大进展。请问下一步将如何继续推动坚持在党的这项方略取得新成就？
Next to implement the CPC's policies on governing Xizang.
由我来回答，感谢你的提问。
Thank you for your question.
新时代党的这张方略是我们西藏做好各项工
CPC's
作的纲
policies
和
on governing Xizang is the guiding principle for us to carry out various courses in Xizang. General Secretary Xi has identified for Xizang 4 major matters, namely maintaining stability, facilitating development, protecting the environment, and safeguarding the borders. The 10th Party Congress of the Autonomous Region has proposed the goals of establishing model areas for ethnic unity and progress, pilot zone for high-quality development of highland economy, ecological highlands, and demonstration areas for safeguarding and developing border areas and improving people's lives. And this is our way of implementing and acting on the important instructions of General Secretary Xi in forms of projects, lists, and specific vehicles.
同时呢，也是为了满足人民日益增长的
And these efforts are also made to meet people's need for a better life and give people a greater sense of fulfillment and happiness. And people's aspirations for a better life are what we will be working for. Just now, my colleagues said the happiness of the people is the greatest human rights.
再一个呢，就是为了全面贯彻新发展理念，自觉把西藏工作
Second, we are also committed to fully implementing the new development philosophy and placing the work of Xizang from the overall perspective of the work of the party and the country. The economic and social development in Xizang is unique in its way. in its own way, and General Secretary Xi has pointed out that protecting eco-environment in Xizang is the greatest contribution to the development of the Chinese nation. The greatest value of the Qinghai Xizang Plateau is in eco-environment, which holds the key to our greatest potential. So to ensure high-quality economic growth, we need to have a keen grasp of the instructions of the Central Committee and to act on those important instructions. So the 4 things we are trying to build as pace setters are objectives based on the realities of Xizang, and it also reflects our commitment to having new solutions to new problems. It is an effective vehicle for achieving high-quality development of the autonomous region, and also a path that meets the natural conditions of the autonomous region. We will align ourselves with the political thinking of the central authorities, have a deeper understanding of the guiding principles of the 20th Party Congress, and deepen our efforts to implement the 4 major matters identified by General Secretary Xi. We have made positive progress on these fronts. The autonomous region now enjoys political and social stability, economic growth, ethnic unity, religious harmony. People are also living a contented life. The whole society is brimming with vitality. We are also soberly aware that our efforts will take a long time. We must have the right understanding of what success means, take a long view, and do more that would lay a sound foundation for long-term development, prevent bureaucracy, and implement these specific projects for improving people's well-being and give them a greater sense of fulfillment and happiness so that they could share in the benefits of reform and development and truly achieve lasting peace and security and development of Xizang Autonomous Region.
好，谢谢主持人。来自中央广播人民金融总台 CCTV 的记者，我的问题是处理好环境保护和经济发展的关系是个全球性难题，尤其是在生态环境脆弱的高原地区。请问西藏自治区在这方面是怎么做的？有什么经验可以与我们来分享？谢谢。
What has the government done to handle this issue? What are your good experiences?
好，感谢这位记者对西藏生态环境保护的
Thank you for your interest in ecological conservation in Xizang. As we know, this Qinghai Xizang Plateau is an eco shield and water tower of Asia. We take it very seriously, and we have been following through on the Xi Jinping thought on ecological civilization. We have stayed true to the bottom line to ensure that the environment is well protected. First, we have framed up our philosophy of putting ecological conservation first. And we have made the decision of building a national eco-civilization model, a demonstration zone for national ecological civilization building, and building a beautiful and happy Xizang. And we have rolled out 10 plus sub-regional environmental laws and regulations, including regulations on the development of national eco-civilization model in the Xizang Autonomous Region. And second, we have been improving systems for ecological conservation. We have implemented such requirements as a negative list for industrial access, water resources management, red line for arable land, and basic pasture protection. And we have banned high pollution, energy consumption, and emission programs from entering Xizang. And we have established systems such as ownership system for natural resources, usage management, veto system.
两江四河流域
Environmental
造林工程
compensation and
在
assessment
有条
of
件的
progress
地
on
方消
ecological
除
progress
无数户
to ensure
无
that
数
work
村
is done well.
深
And
入
third,
实
we have
施
been doing
大气
ecological
水
project
污染
developments
污染防治行动计划，加
where
强重点
conditions
地区水土
are
流失、沙化
ripe.
土地
We
和
make sure
退
that
化
all
湿地
households
的
and
治理，
villages live in
实
places
施退耕
with
还林、
trees. And
退
we have
牧
been
还
carrying
草、人
forward
工种草
prevention
等
and
工
control
作，
programs for the air,
全面
water,
推
and
进
soil
绿色
pollutions.
清洁生产，
And
推
we have
进
been treating
产
soil
业生态
erosion,
化、生
desertification,
态产
and
业化，
wetland degradation,
发
and
展
returning
生态经
farmland
济、
and pasture
碳
to
汇经
forest,
济。
grassland, and
谈
planting
到
grass.
经验分
We
享，
have been accelerating the
我个人体会
development of green economy
在千百
and
年
green
来
and
我们
clean production
西藏
as
人
well
民
as
在
development of green
世界的
industries.
屋脊青藏高原
For thousands of
形
years,
成了
people have
敬畏自然、
formed
尊重自然、
a view on
与自然
nature
生
that
态和谐
respects,
相处的这样一种
admires,
思
and
想观念
coexists in
和生
peace
活方
with
式。
nature on the
那么党
plateau
的18
of
大以来，
Xizang.
中
Since
央
the
又
18th
十分强
CPC
调，
National
在
Congress,
青
the
藏高
CPC
原
Central
要
Committee
坚
has
持
placed
生
high
态保护第一，
importance
并且
on
把保护
the
生态环
need
境
to
作为西
put
藏工作
ecological
的
conservation
4件大
first
事之
in
一。
Xizang, and also
因
take
此，
that
简单说吧，
as a
我
top
们的经验呢
priority.
就是珍
So
视
put
优良传
simply,
统，
a good experience would be to
服务国家大局。
respect our fine traditions and to
谢谢
serve
各
the
位发
larger
言，
picture
谢谢各
for the
位记者
country's
朋友们的参
development.
与。今天的
Thank you,
新闻发布会
speakers
就到这
and
里，
all friends
大
from
家
the
再见。
media. This is the end of